Hey everyone, Simon here with a hands-on preview of Inertial Drift Sunset Prologue. The Sunset Prologue is the free prologue/demo that you can download to test out Inertial Drift. It gives you access to 2 tracks and 2 class types of cars, so that you can kind of understand the different mechanics of how drifting and racing / in a time trial environment works for Inertial Drift. I love me a cel-shaded racing game. There was also Modelista, back on PlayStation 2. There's a couple of Inertial D games, I think, that was on PlayStation 3. They were also on PlayStation 1 and 2 and elsewhere as well. And I know there's a couple of lower budget cel-shaded racing games and drifting games on PC already. But this looks like it's going to tank all of them out of the water. You can see the visuals. It looks beautiful. It's highly stylized. I adore the color palette. And it just puts me slap bang in an anime. And I love that. And you all know me. I'm a bit of a Japan culture freak. And so this all speaks to me on so many levels. Plus the cute, hyper funky jazz element of music and soundtrack as well is back on point for anything that is around Inertial D and this type of style of gameplay / anime. However, I don't know if I've really talked about this too much on the channel beforehand, and apologies that I've been a bit racing game happy these last couple of weeks, but it's just the timing of all these games coming out. I'm not much of a fan of drifting in games, and it's always the mode that I skip on, like the Dirt Rally games, Gran Turismo. Just not interested in drifting at all, and I've never really got onto it. So I was a bit worried because obviously it's Inertial Drift. How would it work? But for me, this is easily the most responsive and intuitive way of trying to do drifting in a game, and I'll explain how it works. So you've got your normal accelerate and brake, obviously paddle controls on the top, or trigger, controls on the top of your controller. Your left analog stick only kind of moves you a very tiny bit left and right, and it's more for like precision moving on like fast chicanes so that you can just nudge yourself one way or another because it's slow and unresponsive. But the right analog stick makes your car step out, particularly on the Class C cars, which are the ones that I recommend you start with as you get to learn the game. As you step out, it will kind of drift out to a certain degree, and you'll be able to get your way around most of like the normal quote-unquote turns. But as soon as you start hitting tight turns and hairpins, you'll need to let go of the accelerator, and if you then hit on the right analog stick, as well as occasionally the left as well, you can kind of do the two together, almost like you're playing a motorbike game. But if you smack the right analog stick when you've got no accelerator on, you'll drift further. And with the Class C cars, if you then brake and do it, then you'll drift even further around, thus being able to get around tighter turns, but obviously you'll be scrubbing off some speed from your car. And in the demo, it's all about time trials. So you're going to be trying to make sure that you don't scrub off as much speed as possible. The trick then applies because every single class of car has a different way of driving it. So when you get to the Class B car, which is also in the demo, if you just smack the left and right analog stick, the car won't break into that drift. It kind of leans for a bit and then will eventually go, but it's too late in doing it. So what you have to do is spank the brake and then throw your car into the drift straight afterwards, and it becomes like a weird rhythmic ballet as you're trying to brake and then throw around the corner, straighten yourself up, and then if you're trying to get round chicanes, you're kind of brake drift, trying to like flick it left and right. But you get all that visual feedback, not just on the car itself and obviously your speed and how things are going, but on those 2 bits of UI down at the bottom of the screen, which show you like how maximum-y drift you can be. That's my technical term. But it's such a simple system, but it's quick, it's responsive, it's feeds back to me how I'm doing and what I could do and if I could go further. And that's so rare for a drifting game for me to be able to understand that and see the visual feedback in real time. And I know that this is an arcade game, but because of its responsiveness, this has been the most enjoyable drifting experience that I've had in like a racing game that made sense to me. And so that is why I am more excited for Inertial Drift now that I've played the demo than I was beforehand. It's likely to be a day one buy for me, probably now. I'll likely get it on console, to be honest, because you know me, I love Trophy. And yeah, I'm just super excited about it now. So I wanted to share it all with you. So apologies, it's another racing game this week. But yeah, we're quids in on this one. Grab the prologue. It's called Inertial Drift Sunset Prologue. Out now. 2 tracks, 2 different types of cars. Have a go and see how you think. Take care all. Bye.